Thanks for checking out 3D Products. I'm Donald Williams. Today, we're going to talk about clay. Nice and easy. Give us a pause. You have left just to make sure that you don't get tumbled.
Little piece of drop down. And then, so I might as well put a little bit of protection back on there.
Today we're going to explain the differences between the clay grades of clay pad versus clay towel. Why would you use a heavy clay bar? We're going to be able to show you how the clay comes, it takes it and pulls it out and removes it. I'm going to show you why you're doing it, when you do it, as well as comparing the clay bar, a clay towel, and a clay pad with using a dual action polisher. Also, some of the questions is like, what do I use? Do I use Final Touch? Do I use detail spray? What you're actually going to be removing, what we recommend for those as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. There's things that you can see here and feel. For example, you have all this orange industrial fallout that's in this hood. We actually chose the white car because it shows up a little bit better, which you can see. You can feel it in your fingers. You'll feel like little bumps in there. One of the best things to do is take one of those films from like a cigarette cartridge and stick it in there and you can really feel it. And then the last thing is you can hear it. You can definitely hear when the paint has a contaminant. Now what the contaminants are is going to be oxidation, it's going to be industrial fallout, people call it rail dust. You got these pieces of metal that are flying out as you're driving through and they actually stick to the paint and they start to bury themselves in there and then they kind of corrode and contaminate your paint and cause that oxidation, almost like a pimple type of an infestation type thing. You don't take care of it on your skin, it's going to do the same thing with your paint. So we take a handy dandy little BDX here. This is kind of a liquid clay. It removes iron oxide. Now it's not going to totally remove all the product like a clay pad would, but just give you kind of an idea on what you're doing is to show that there's metal particles actually sticking in to the surface here. So we're going to spray a little bit of BDX on here. You'll see it'll start to turn purple. Like you have here, you have over here, you have all these little spots over here, they're starting to show up. And what that is that's industrial fallout. It's now really starting to show here. And that's actual metal particles that are stuck into your clear coat or your single stage paint, basically stuck in the vehicle. BDX is good, it will remove some of it, but there's still, it's not that glassy, real soft feel that you're going to get from clay. So BDX was good to remove some of the contaminants, to get really deep cleaner or light cleaning into there, but you can still hear some of the pitting and everything that's going on. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how to use clay for this and properly remove this contamination. I'm going to choose to use Final Touch. Final Touch has a little bit of wax, polymers in there. It's going to create a little bit of a gloss. It's going to have a good glide to it. Better than soap and water. Soap and water will work. Water is not something we recommend because a lot of times it gets a little dry, and depending on where you live, it's going to be a little bit different. You want something with good lubrication in it. Now, I'm going to go and start off. I'm going to show clay, which is HD clay here. Now, a lot of guys think that you take the whole thing, the whole block of clay, and you use that to scrub the car. No, that's not something you want to do. One of the reasons is if you drop clay onto the ground, you have to throw it away because it could pick up dirt and everything that's on there. I mean, you can try and pick it out, but it's going to pick it up. And if you pick it up and you start rubbing the surface, you're going to scratch it. Okay? So you don't want to do that. Second off, is when you pull it out, try and get something that's just about the size of your fingers. You don't want to do too much. Again, we're not trying to get this to fly all over the place. This is a slightly used clay. On the back you can see we've used this before. What that is that's clay that's picked up some contaminant. And so what you have to do is you have to fold it over and you have to use it to make sure it doesn't have all this contamination. So spray a little bit of Final Touch on your clay and then spray it on the area that you're going to be doing the work with. And you want to keep it well lubricated, and then in back and forth motions, go ahead and lightly scrub. Now this is our medium grade clay, and it's very easy, and you can hear it as you go. So as you're claying, you'll hear a little scratching noise. Put it in there, and then when you know you've cleaned it off, you actually won't hear it anymore. So you kind of want to play it by ear, and you'll feel some of the drag. Okay. And you can see we have a little bit of dirt. Look in here. And as your clay gets older, it'll have an orangey tinge to it. You can see the orange that's in here. It'll have an orangey tinge to it, and that's when you know it's time to fold it over. We'll wipe down our surface that we cleaned up, and there might be, especially with your clay, a little bit of scratching, especially if it's soft. Well, that's what clay does. It's an abrasive, but it is going to clean up. It's just like a polish, but you can't hear any more sounds. So you'll feel a glass-like, as they say, smooth as a baby's butt type feel. And that's what your clay does. So that's the first part of it, is using the clay. The second part we have is a clay towel. It's our Nano Prep towel. It's the same thing. They come in large sheets, and there's a lot of benefit to these towels in the fact that if you drop them, which I'm going to take, and I like to cut it into 4s, because I don't think we need to use a whole sheet like this when we're doing it. It gives you a little less control. So I take mine and I cut them into 4s. Also, it makes the life of it a lot better. So the idea behind this is it's going to do the same type of thing as a clay bar. The biggest difference is if you drop it on the floor, all you have to do, brush it off, give it a little bit of a rinse down, make sure there's no dirt, and you're ready to use it again. Okay? So what this is going to do is this is going to emulate the same thing that the clay did, but it's a little bit more user-friendly. Now some people say, and they have a little bit more preference, they think that clay bars work better. I haven't noticed the relevance on it, but there might be, you know, some of you that might have an opposition or preference, and that's fine. But you can hear this going, and so the same thing is you want to keep it nice and lubricated. You don't need to scrub it. I prefer not going in circular motions. That's my personal preference. You can see the dirt coming up here. See how it's pulling up the contaminants. So obviously it's working really well. One thing about these is they're very low maintenance. The only thing you don't want to do is store it in the heat where it can stick to something. You'll want to store it so it's straight up. And then you'll do the same thing as you go and you clay it. And you do it by ear, by sight, by feel. And we're quiet. So also with the clay towel, as it does remove oxidation, you've got some of your headlamps that get really fogged up, clouded up. You can actually take some of the clay, and if it's not too bad, these clay towels will actually remove that oxidation, and you can combine it with BDX. You can also combine it with Final Touch or Detail Spray and be able to shine those things up as long as it's not too bad. Okay, heard it's been done, seen it been done a couple times. I don't personally choose to do that, but that's something that is a good point of reference for this. So I'm going to go ahead and do one last little pass here. Make sure we get it all. Take a microfiber towel. Now you also got to remember, if you're going to be detailing this with any type of correction, compound polish, you don't really have to take that time to be too intricate. You just take the time to remove the contaminants in there, because especially if you're using some of the 3D compounds and polishes, it's going to make quick work of any of the light scratching you're getting with your clay. If you're going to be doing a heavy detail on it, especially on a light car, you want to get rid of your oxidation, go with a heavier clay grade. if you choose to go with clay. My personal favorite and my preference is going to be the Nano Prep Pad. Now the Nano Prep Pad is specially made with an interface pad, 6 inches, and it's made to go on a dual action polisher. Fits on there nice and even. Has a little bit of overlap, about 1/8 inch. That way you stay away from the edges when you're spinning it out. We're still going to go with 3D Final Touch. Again, 3D detail spray. Just as good at it. It's not going to give you the waxy finish because the detail spray is a body shop safe item. The Final Touch is your detailing item. So same type of purpose. This has those polymers and some silicone-based product. Really haven't had, we have some body shops that have used this product. Never had a problem with fish eyes, but for the convenience and for the comfort of being safe, the 3D detail spray is for there. So we'll take and we'll spray down our clay pad. I'm going to get a little bit of lubrication on there. Not too wet, you don't need it dripping. And then you want to cover your surface here. Now the biggest key to doing this is going to be the speed that you have on your polisher. Now this is a flex polisher. It's the XFE 715. It's got a 15mm throw on it. When you're correcting it, you run it all the way up to 6. But when you're doing clay, it'll be about 2 to 3 is what you're going to use this street on. Lock it in. You can even go down to 1. It's got good power. And you just want to make sure that you're staying nice and lubricated. You don't need to, again, you do not need to force this down. We're not doing deep correction. We're removing oxidation. We also can use it to remove paint transfer. It's a great thing to do, remove paint transfer. Say you got a little bit of a fender bender or you hit something. This will actually take that out. Now this takes no time to do it. That's why it's my favorite. Goes nice and quick. Makes quick work of what you're doing. You're done. For those that are in a body shop and you want to use it, you can take your palm sander, go ahead and put it on a palm sander, that clay pad, and just take out that oxidation real quick. So, and overspray for those body shops that are out there, those shop users, you have a little bit of overspray from, you painted the front fender, you painted the quarter panel, and you got it on the doors, you got it on the windows, it'll be able to go ahead and take that off. Which is another thing that we can do here. Yes, glass does get, I'm going to feel that, woo, nice. Glass does get contamination, so you can take and put Final Touch, or I'll do detail spray this time, and it can clay off your windows. People wondering what we clay. Now we don't clay the plastics. We can clay plastic that's been coated. We don't want to clay flat plastics, but in the glass is extremely easy because glass will get contaminants and that'll actually ruin your windshield wipers faster. So if you do this to your glass, it's going to help keep the life of your windshield wipers up, and you'll get some of those annoying streaks you get during the rainy season to go away. Now what's going to happen after we go and we clay this car is you're going to realize you strip some of your wax off. If you had wax on there, it's actually going to be removing the wax. This is great for prepping, putting a coating or a wax or anything on. Obviously, this is a step between a heavy correction or any type of correction. This is kind of that step you want to have done before you do your corrections. Now you'll do your compounds, your polishes, because you're removing the contaminants and the oxidation out. Then you're creating a nice even surface that's not going to contaminate your pads, your compounds, your polishes. Then you'll now remove any scratches that you have in there, which will now be ready and now prepped for your protection, your wax, your sealants, your coatings, so that you can have a perfectly level surface that's ready to have those products adhere to it, so you can get a nice, durable coating or protection on that's going to last you for what you pay for. You got detailers out there that are doing this, and they're making, they're charging you to make sure that you have a good coating on this. We want to get your money's worth out of it. If people come out and they just say they have a clay on it, that's nice and it feels good, but there's no protection that's left behind it. You always want to take, after you've done all this work, now protect it. Use 3Ds, epoxy, carnauba wax. You know, there's some of the lifes that, there's choices there as well. I know that get a little overwhelming. However, we've been able to take these videos, shorten that down for you so that you can look exactly, find out exactly what you're doing. We're going to be doing that in a video next that you'll be able to find on 3D's websites, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. That way you can make sure you stay up to date with all 3D's latest, greatest innovative car care products and techniques. We want to make sure that you guys are educated. You know not only what you're purchasing, but then how to use it. If you guys are looking for other steps, additional steps on how to do these things, be able to look them up on 3dproducts.com, look them up on YouTube. Hope you're making sure you guys are following and sharing all the products from 3D. Make sure that you guys definitely keep up to speed with our latest, our greatest, our innovative car care products. Till then, Donald Williams. We'll see you soon.